Hey everyone, Internet PC's book reader here. Today I want to talk about the investigation by G.M. Lee. The setting of the story is in a certain Japanese prison in Fukuoka that imprisoned Korean captives during the World War II. The book starts strong with life might not have a purpose, but that requires clarity. Which is fitting because it is a murder mystery that is written in such a beautiful prose-like quality. Then we see the prison guard that has become a prisoner that say those things. A Japanese guard that said that he used to abuse Korean prisoner. He goes on to tell a story of his past involving a poet and his censor. One day in Fukuoka prison, there was a sudden alert. A body of a veteran prison guard, Sugiyama Dosan, was found. Because of the way his body was found, that kinda reminds me of Persona 4 display of Midnight TV victim, everyone is sure that he was murdered. His young partner Watanabe Shuichi, a 19 years old newbie that was decided to be the investigator of the murder investigation. Also, cue title drop the investigation in this section of the story. And we also got the background of the victim Sugiyama here. He is a war veteran, as I said, that have fought in the Soviet-Mongol War and earned a lot of notoriety here. Even in prison, there are legends about his feat, including taking care of a riot single-handedly without a scratch on him. Both prisoner and guard fear him. This is an example of a good exposition where not only we get to know about his background, but we can also conclude that the victim is not someone that can be handled lightly because of his strength and experience, but somehow here's his dead body. But Shuichi is not a detective, unless you want to count the countless books he read in his mother's small bookstore. What he wanted in his life was continue to stay on that small bookstore before he was forced to be a young student soldier from the enlistment. You can see how much he loved Brooke from this quote. Books were cities I never visited, filled with pillars of great talks and streets of phrases, mazes of abstruse sentences, structures, and alleys of complicated syllables. They were stores that displayed a wide range of things, punctuation twinkling like the cries of a venerable family, sentences breathing peacefully, words whispering. And to make it worse, during his investigation, he found a poem on Sugiyama's body, and because of this finding, he learned that Sugiyama works in the prison as a censor. This leads him to being forced into taking over Sugiyama's work as a censor in the prison, whose job involves burning books, inserting his dream even further. Although deep down I wanted to keep guard over sleeping words and sentences, really, I had become an executioner of literature. He will then need to get used to burning books, and further investigation of the murder and the censor activity led to even more poems with similar theme as the poems he found on the victim's body, eventually leading to a man named Hiranuma Tochu, a man captured for the crime of allying himself with the liberation of Korea. I checked his file to remind myself his crime, involvement in the Korean independence movement. Up to here, there's already a lot of witness about the case and the prison itself that give the mystery aspect of the story. Why is the warden so against involving the police to report the murder case? What is with the flimsy excuse about not involving outsiders? Why are they so against Shuichi meeting with the doctors who did the autopsy? And all of that and more will be explored through the story. And the storytelling itself followed this investigation closely. When Shuichi finds out more about people involved in the case, we usually change perspective and time to either the victim Sugiyama or the poet Hiranuma. The more we know about the poet, the more we know about his censor. And as we get closer to the truth of the case, the more we go through both of these people, the more we get more interaction that are commenting and analyzing media, whether it's poem or Shakespeare's, especially Hiranuma's poem. Also, the poet Hiranuma in this book is actually a Korean named Yoon Dong-ju. In this book, his name was changed to his Japanese version because during that time there was a heavy censorship of Korean and Chinese name in Japanese captures. Nowadays in media, it's more used for localization, but back then you need to change your name just like how Yoon Dong-ju did because of censorship. Yoon Dong-ju himself is actually based on a real-life Korean poet that is captured and imprisoned in Japanese prison during World War II, and died in prison with his poetry book published posthumously. The book A Day in the Life of Abed Salama that I've reviewed before this is an autobiography, but that is not the case with this book. It is only loosely based on the poet Yoon Dong-ju that was imprisoned in one of Japan's prisons in Fukuoka back in 1944 when Japan was one of the cruelest colonialists. You can even see hints of colonialist mentality shown in the story. Circumstances of how the real-life Yoon Dong-ju died in prison also still bring question to how he died, which causes a lot of speculation, rightfully so. Because it was also during the time that Unit 731 that is known for their cruel inhuman experiment was active, and the doctors in this prison can be suspicious because of that. But it is only semi-autobiography. Besides those few things above I just mentioned, most of the books are made of fictional material, And a lot of the book is even the author trying to have a discussion with the poems that Yoon Dong-ju wrote in relation with his life when he wrote it. Like when he went to Japan in order to go to university and had to change his name to Japanese name. Your Korean name is the artifact of the fallen dynasty. The disgrace face reflected on the rusted bronze mirror refers to your name change. That's what distresses you. That's what you were confessing to, as you stare at the person you had to discard in order to come here. The story did not just focus on the brutality done by Japan in the prison because of the author's understanding of history, the story also shows the danger of romanticization of nationalism, where it makes people easier to manipulate by the government, even more so back then when even if people wanted to look for counter-evidence on the shared information, you cannot do that. You can see hints in the story about how much propaganda was shared by Japanese government to their own people through Shuichi's experience, from selling nationalism to adults to school children by romanticizing their attack to other countries. In one small part of the story, there's public radios that kept on repeating news about Japan's victory in the war, where they managed to colonize more lands. This radio will still go on repeating that Japan is winning, even during the latter part of the war where they keep on losing. Mind you, the book did this not to excuse one side of the war, but since the book is a murder case mystery, it took the route to cover everything so the truth is uncovered more properly, and as a result the reveal become more compelling for those who read enough history. Even if it's presented as truth, a lie is a lie. A little knowledge is a dangerous thing. The book of course also tackles the theme of sin of the past, following one of the authors that is named the most often in the book, Dostoevsky. Through Shuichi's abilities as a student soldier, through Kuginoma's past, and through some revelation in the books that I won't spoil to you, we get to see these people deals with regret and guilt just like Raskolnikov in Crime and Punishment. A small part of the book do feel a bit too idealistic to the point of turning them into plot convenience that is less believable. This mostly affected the writing of the antagonists. The people in the story and in the world are supposed to be irredeemable. Instead of making them feel like bad people, there are times when they felt more cartoonishly stupid people in the story. The more compelling characters are mostly only people that did not lose their humanity despite the cruelness that surrounds their life, which fortunately is enough for the most part. Some part of it also went for too long, especially around the middle point of the book where you can really feel the story stays too long in the past because the author wanted to force the story to fit a narrative where more Yoon Dong-ju poem analysis can fit into the story. Some of these parts really feel like the author have completely forgotten about Shuichi. But all of this did not take too much from how good the story is because of how well written it is. As expected of a story that focuses on a great poet, the writing is filled with a lot of quotable lines like, "Man is in pain because he finds love too early, because he hasn't seen someone for too long, and because he discovered the truth too late." But their happiness was as fleeting as a drop of water on the surface of glass. The year he turned 24, a red notice struck him across the face and he was conscripted. As a soldier, he suffered through snowstorm, sandstorm and mud, dust, exhaustion and death. Somehow he survived. He talked of her all along. Surviving was the only way to preserve the sound of her piano. Surviving was the sole blessing in his life. Or maybe it was a curse. That's why despite some of the flaws, it is still a great read that is so easy to recommend. It's quite rare nowadays for a whodunit story to have this good of a plot and this good of a writing. I give this a 3.75. What do you think? Are you gonna read it? Did I miss anything? Leave your thoughts in the comment below and subscribe to the channel. That's about it.